Hello, everybody, and today I would like to talk about the new Iron Banner mode because we only get new Crucible modes during Iron Banner, and I want to give thoughts on a new thing in Crucible because it doesn't happen very often. So, Iron Banner's here. There's a new mode. It's called Fortress. What is it? Well, essentially, it is zone control. So you're going to have the A, B, and C flags. You have to neutralize them before you can capture them. And then you generate points for the amount of time that you have those points captured. Kills mean absolutely nothing in this mode besides the usual, kill people to take them off the point. So that's what you do. You neutralize the zone, you capture it, you hold it, you generate points. But there is a slight twist from our regular zone control. There's going to be a central point that spawns, similar to a King of the Hill style game mode, where sorry, we call her Caitlyn with a C. On DCP. Caitlyn will spawn her turrets in this capture point. You have to kill those 3 turrets, and then after you do that, the point is capturable. You know what I mean. Now, capturing this center King of the Hill point is really, really fast, but you generate points in kind of like segments. So you capture it and you generate 4 points. And then if you continue holding it for your team, you generate another 4 points, so on and so forth. There are 2 of these capture points that spawn in the game, and everyone will save their supers for these 2 capture points because that makes sense. You generate an absolute buttload of points for holding this central King of the Hill zone. So that is the basic overview of what the mode is. So what do I think about it? Well, I think it's fine. But unfortunately, Fortress is a victim to the current meta and the current state of the Crucible. And if you haven't spent a lot of time in the Crucible recently, especially Trials of Osiris that involves a cap point of any kind, then you may not really know. So let me tell you, essentially, the meta right now is for you to play a Titan, to spam barricades, specifically ones that you can shoot through, give your entire team overshields, and then pop a bubble on any capture point that appears. So if you are running like 2 bubble Titans, you could basically win this game mode for your team because one of you can get your bubble for the first point. You can capture that. There's not really much that people can do to deal with it. There's some supers that can deal with it, but you're most likely going to be able to hold that point for long enough to make a significant impact to your points generated. And then the next point that comes up, the other person can just pop a bubble and hold that point. And that is what the game mode is. People will pop a well, people will pop a bubble, put barricades, and that is what it is. So I've actually had a pretty decent time with the mode when there haven't been any bubble titans. And it makes it really difficult to just judge the game mode as a game mode when it depends so much on what the enemy team is doing. But when there haven't been any or one bubble titan on the enemy team, it plays pretty well because it's just an all-out death fight brawl on this middle capture point, and people are just slinging whatever they can at each other to take control of this capture point. However, when there is a bubble, it slows that down completely. The team just runs on there, they put the bubble down, and you're just kind of standing there like, sure hope someone has a super that can deal with the bubble. But I won't keep harping on about the bubble and the meta stuff. I will have a video later talking about just my enjoyment of the Crucible and going in depth in some stuff. I've been working on gathering some data and stuff for that video. But yeah, we're not gonna talk about the meta anymore. The mode. The mode. So judging it when we don't have to deal with the bubble stuff, I think it's fine. I would actually say that I would love for Bungie to full send this type of mode even more because as it stands, the turrets don't really do much. They're kind of just there. They don't really add anything or take anything away. They're kind of just there. They're not super interactive. You can't like capture the turrets to be on your team to fight off the enemy. It's just neutral turrets that you shoot and then you capture the zone. So I would actually love, first of all, I would love if we just had a King of the Hill mode in Destiny. I've always thought that it would be a good mode in Destiny. Of course, it's going to get chaotic, especially with the amount of abilities we have now. but I think a King of the Hill mode would be really fun. So in my mind, a King of the Hill mode would be capture points that randomly go to different locations on the map, so you can't just set up there and wait for the zone to pop up. And I think that would be a lot of fun. In terms of the PvE element, I think it would be really cool if there was a way to like make the turrets your own and fight against the enemy, or a very simple idea that I thought about the turrets and I was talking with Chad about is, so when you capture that middle King of the Hill zone, the way that you generate points is kind of like in segments, right? So you hold it, you get 4 points. If you're still holding it, you get more 4 points. If you're still holding it, you get 4 more points. I think it would be kind of nice if the turrets popped up after each of those sections of 4 points, because that would, one, help with any of the issues of people being set up with supers on the point. They would have to deal with the turrets. They can't just sit there in their bubble or their well or in their whatever and hold you off. And it would give the other team trying to attack a little bit better of an opportunity to get in there and maybe take control. And if the turrets are neutral, it still means that both teams would have to deal with it. Just that if you are sitting on top of that King of the Hill point, you're obviously probably going to be the one dealing with it because you're literally right on top of the turrets. So I think that would be kind of interesting just to involve these turrets a little bit more, because like I said, as it stands, they're fine. They just don't really do much. One other point of feedback that's not a huge deal. It's just something that we have given to Bungie before, and before anyone yells at me, before I even say what it is, this is not me saying I want to just slay out and post my kills on Twitter and look how many kills I got, guys. Okay, the scoreboard. The scoreboard doesn't show the kills at all. And I get that it is an objective mode. However, in any team, like a professional team in Halo back in the day, Call of Duty, you have slayers and you have objective players. Like, that's generally how these teams are made up. You have people who are really good at slaying, people who are really good at objective play. Slaying is a huge part of objective game modes. For example, if my team captures the point and I run to where the enemy is spawning and I super them and I'm killing them all and I'm preventing them from even getting anywhere near the point, or I'm preventing a large portion of them getting towards the point, I am playing the objective, right? You are too. Anyone is. You are playing the objective. You're creating space for your team. So if you take down, say you run to the enemy spawn, and even if you take down 2 people, that is still 2 less people that are going to be pushing your team to try and take that point. Maybe one of them has a super. You take out a super that's pushing to the point. That is huge. And that is a huge help to your team. It is important to have people that are slaying to keep people off of capturing these points, just as important as it is killing the turrets or capturing the point itself. So I understand that we're trying to really prioritize looking at the objective points on the scoreboard, but I don't think that there is anything wrong with showing the amount of kills that someone got. You don't even have to show KD or KDA. You can just show kills. Whatever you want to do. But I do think that it is an important metric to see how well you've done in a game, because there could be someone on my team that has captured like 10 points and that's amazing, but they've killed like no people. But there could be someone else on my team who has been in front of that capture point, keeping the enemy from capturing the point, slaying out, and maybe they've captured like 3. And looking at them, you're like, wow, you did literally nothing, when they've actually done quite a lot. So I think, yes, objectives are important. Definitely show the objective stuff on the scoreboard. Maybe we can even have a second page of the scoreboard for like slaying stats in these objective modes. But I do think that the amount of kills that you get is an important metric for seeing how you did in any mode, whether it's team deathmatch or an objective-based mode. But I think there is something here, and I'm absolutely incredibly thankful for any new thing that we can get in the Crucible. I think it's a little unfortunate that we only get new modes in Iron Banner, which we play for 2 weeks out of a 3-month season, and then we have to wait for it to go into the rotation, which can take a while. So I think that's a bit unfortunate, but I'm always happy for new Crucible stuff. And I do think there is something here. I just kind of wish that Bungie would get a little bit wilder and just full send into chaos, because in Destiny's history of modes for Destiny's Crucible, it's always just been like slight variations of pre-existing FPS game modes, and they haven't really pushed for them to be Destiny's own game modes, you know? And I think if there's any FPS on the market that could full send into these variations of game modes and just make them more chaotic, it would be Destiny. And I think Destiny would do really well with having more chaos in the modes that they take and do variations of. So add more turrets. Freaking, you know what? Drop pod mode. Caitlyn is pissed, and she just wants to drop pods on everybody. So if you are standing still when Caitlyn goes, wee-oo, wee-oo, drop pod time, you get squished. I want that mode. I guess that's kind of what Eruption wanted to do. They wanted to get you moving by, hey, if you don't kill people, you're going to explode. But what if we just have drop pods? I like that idea. Let's do that. But TLDR, I think the game mode is fine. It's a slave to the current meta. It's unfortunate that we have a zone capture based mode when slow play, wall barriers, wells, and bubbles are the meta. But I think the game mode is fine. But I would like to see a little bit of an iteration on how often the turrets spawn, maybe even how strong they are, so they're actually like a problem to deal with. I think that would be fine. I mean, why not? We're experimenting with Crucible all the time anyway. We might as well throw some crazy stuff in there and see what happens. Anyway, those are my thoughts about the new Iron Banner mode. What do you think about it? And actually, a more important question that I would be really curious to hear the answer to is, what iterations would you make on the mode? So we have, say, King of the Hill, we have Zone Control, and we have Keitel bringing in her Cabal forces. What would you like to do with those elements? I'm not saying create a brand new Iron Banner mode. Of course you can if you want, but I'm just really curious to see what you guys would do with the bones that we have of this game mode. What would you do? Let me know. I'm really curious. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said earlier in the video, I will have a video coming out on my thoughts of the Crucible. I know there's been a lot of these types of videos recently, but this is coming at it more from a PvP player's enjoyment of Crucible through the years and the changes that have happened over the last year to affect that. That makes sense. Anyway, you'll see when I post the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm rambling. Goodbye.